All right, welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new here, I'm Evie, owner and creative director of Evielutions Design, where I help businesses with web development, graphic, and printing. Okay, so this week we're going to get into some storytelling. I know that I don't really talk about me or my business really on here because I'm just so consumed with giving you guys useful information to help you on your business journey. But I set a goal for myself this year, which is to open up more and let you guys, get to know me a little bit better. So, as usual, let's jump right into it. Okay, so today I decided to take you guys all the way back to 2003 before it all actually began. So in 2003, I was 23 and I was attending Ivy Tech State College, which is a junior college located in East Chicago, Indiana. And I was taking up computer information systems. By the way, I was born and raised in Hammond, Indiana. That's where I'm from. And so, in order to prevent, employers from telling me I didn't have the experience upon graduating with my degree, I decided to find internships while I was in school. That way that I could have, both the degree, associate's degree and my experience and not get shuffled around. And it just basically helped increase my worth. So, mind you, while I was in school, I had a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter. And I'm gonna put a picture here. Aren't they so cute? Oh, it's so adorable. I don't know what they are now, but anyway, so I was juggling all three, which wasn't gonna be an easy task, but I was super determined. So I applied for several internships in Chicago, and the daycare that I was taking my kids to was an in-home daycare, and the husband of the owner happened to work downtown Chicago for a nonprofit organization, and he heard that I was looking for an internship. And so he was able to hire me as a technology systems intern. But of course, I was working for free. So I had to pay for my train ticket to commute to and from Chicago every day. Now, remember, on top of that, I have 2 kids and I'm in school. So it was tough, scraping up the money for the train ticket and everything and just juggling everything overall. But like I said, I was determined to have some experience on my resume upon graduating with my associate's degree. So I worked for free a little over a year. And during this time, I had one of the best mentors ever. Her name was Audra. That was my direct supervisor. And she really took her time with me and literally started me off with taking computers apart, replacing parts and putting them back together. And then I eventually started managing all of the servers and some other tasks. And I learned so much from her. And we actually became friends. So about a year in, they decided to actually hire me as a technology systems assistant. Yes. And I was actually getting a paycheck. And I can't remember what I was getting paid back then, but at the time, anything was better than nothing. So after that, I think it was a year later, I moved up again with that organization to a network associate, and I got an additional pay increase. And then, let's see, in 2005, that organization just started to have quite a bit of turnover, and my direct boss, Audra, left. Mike, who was the CFO and the guy that got me the internship there, he left. And the organization's energy just drastically shifted. I was having so many problems with the new CFO. he made it like a daily reminder to me that I didn't have a degree. And although I was doing everything needed and above for that position, he just like refused to acknowledge me. And I remember feeling less than, and it really got under my skin that he sort of like looked down on me. So I started looking for another company. And I think that same year, I also graduated that year with my associates in CIS. And I eventually took a position at a law firm and collection agency as a information systems team lead. Um, with that position, overall, I enjoyed the job because it really challenged me. So while I maintained the servers, I also began like programming to automate processes for the firm, which was really fun. And so after about 3 years of working there, my partner at the time decided to move here to Texas for a position, and the kids and I followed. So I proposed to that job to work from home while I was here in Houston until they were able to find a replacement, and they agreed to allow me to do so. So in 2009, I literally packed everything I had and moved across the country here to Houston. I was so excited to, just experience something new. And I always wanted to live somewhere where the weather was always going to be warm. I know I grew up in the Midwest, but I absolutely hate, hate cold weather. And so, no one in my family on my dad or my mom's side had really ever moved away from home. So I was like really stepping outside of the norm. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention that in 2008, I started attending Kaplan University online to obtain my bachelor's in web design and multimedia. So I had all of that going on at the same time. Okay, so I get here to Houston, and unfortunately, my relationship isn't going well. The kids are, getting adjusted to moving and their new schools. And I'm managing working from home for my company back in Chicago, as well as, again, taking my online classes for my bachelor's degree. So I would say about 6 months after getting here, my relationship is a wrap. And then on top of that, I get a call for my job that they're letting me go. So talk about the hitting the fan, you know what I'm saying? So, the job tried not to pay me unemployment by saying that like I caused them to lose clients or something like that. So I was on top of it. I promptly contacted the HR department to have them mail me my entire HR file, because I had never been reprimanded or wrote up for the entire 4 years I was there. So I'm like, where is this coming from? And with me doing that, they knew that I was on to them. And fortunately, my direct boss at the time knew that it was bull and fought for me and got them to drop it. So, and God rest his soul, he actually passed a few years later in a car accident. But I really respect him and appreciate that he fought for me, because it was just bull crap. So to recap, I'm now jobless. I'm on unemployment. I'm in a new state with no family or friends, and my relationship is over. So listen, I've dealt with a lot of obstacles in my life, and I wasn't going to let this one conquer me. So I ended up getting my own place and started working for a few temp to perm jobs just to try to get back into the corporate world here. But honestly, my heart just wasn't in it anymore. Like every job I started, I was like never really there mentally, and my attitude was like so bad. Like, I was so over it. And that I knew I had to do something, and that working for someone else was no longer it for me, you know? So while I was in school for web design and multimedia, I realized my love for designing and coding. And so I started to tinker, you know, with the idea of working for myself. And since I didn't have like any real world experience in like web development, I decided to reach out to local Houston web design companies just to see once again if they needed an intern. Like, my whole story like circles around like getting internships that like just trigger me into you know, my fields. And so when I think back on it, like, man, I was like really hustling, and thank God, you know, I had unemployment to get, you know, my kids and I through those times. I literally like Googled so many companies here in Houston, and then I would go to their contact page and complete the form asking like, hey, do you need any assistance? Are you looking for an intern? And I finally got a response from a company here called Iconics Marketing. And so him and his wife ran their business from their home. Started me out on working templates, and I learned a lot from like the front end and the back end of business stuff. And I really appreciated them for taking me on, as it like really solidified my desire to like step out on my own. And so I started coming up with a plan for my own business. And although I didn't know where to start, I did know that my name would be Evolution Design, which is basically combining the word evolution with my actual name. I always wanted to like help people evolve and become their best self. So that's kind of where the name came from. So I already had my name picked out and everything. I would say in 2009 is when Evielutions Design was born. And so remember, I had no clue what I was doing, but I knew what I wanted, and that was to help businesses achieve their business goals. And the freedom to make my own schedule, to be able to be there more for my kids. But my business honestly really didn't take off for about like 2 years. And why? Because again, just think about it. My background was IT, help desk, sitting at a desk programming, and having little to no interaction with others. And by the way, on top of that, I'm naturally an introvert. So the business side of marketing and sales, I had no idea about until I joined the Cypher Houston Chamber of Commerce like in 2011. I absolutely am so grateful and love the chamber. It honestly helped me grow so much, not just in business, but personally. This is where I learned that in order to get business, you have to get up and go and get it. Just because you start a business does not mean that the phone is going to start ringing. Like, you have to grind, like seriously. I learned how to network, become a leader, be more sociable, and just be more involved in my community. This is when things like really started to change for me. And I remember getting my first client, which was LaJoyce Lawton of the Multitude Experience. And I was so excited that someone had finally decided to take a chance on me. And so from there, clients just started to roll in. And I think it was mainly because I was literally dominating in networking. I was like at every type of event and networking that the chamber had to offer. I was there. And so I even won Business of the Year in 2013. And I was featured in Houston's Top 100 Professionals in, I think it was like 2015. So as you can see, the chamber made a huge difference and was like the pivoting point for my business. And I literally love meeting new clients and just learning about them and their business. This not only gives me like the opportunity to get to know them, but also just to find areas where I can, help them streamline their business with the website. And I really think that most people think of websites as just for information purposes. And back then, maybe so, but nowadays websites literally can function as an employee. So as business owners, you all know that like we're trying to juggle a million different hats. And if you're anything like me, it's hard to let others help. Like I have a hard time with letting people help me because not necessarily I feel like I can do it better than they can. It's just like letting go of things and worrying about like if they do it incorrectly. So that was like an issue of mine, but I just really wanted to focus on like offsetting tasks to the website just to free up like owners so that they have the ability to focus on the more important things without like breaking the bank on an employee, if it's not actually necessary. Okay. So let's fast forward 11 years later. And I am grateful, obviously, to still be in business. It'll be 13 years this year. So as you can see, I've endured, some trials and tribulations, but still survived and made it. And although I've always been like a strong-minded woman, I think the biggest lessons I've learned through all of this is to just never settle, and that there's nothing that I can't accomplish as long as I put the work in. Another thing is, especially now with like social media, I think we get so caught up in comparing ourselves to others and setting goals that align with what's hot or with what someone else is doing. And so a piece of advice I learned later in business is don't let others define your success. Success is different for everyone, and it may not look like, oh, I want to make $1 million, and that's okay. It may look more like mine, which was, I just want to make a comfortable living, have the freedom to do the things I want, like, spend more time with my family and travel and just help other small businesses succeed. Simple, right? You know what I'm saying? So, we make things so complicated nowadays when we just need to peel back the layers and truly focus on what's really most important to us. All right, guys. So that's my short version of my story, and I'm sticking to it. I am completely amazed at how far I've come and like the obstacles I've tackled. I hope that you've learned something about me and that I can be inspiration to someone that's watching this video. Listen, at the end of the day, you guys got this, all right? So, as usual, tune in every Monday and have a blessed week, guys.